Hi, I'm Derek Beistad, and this is a look at the relationship between people's overall health and their proximity to natural areas, such as parks and forests. According to the American Heart Association, consistent physical activity can lower the risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. Public parks provide a great way to stay active and get outdoors. The American Heart Association suggests people get at least 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity activity. The main question driving this exploration is, does having easy access to the outdoors affect one's overall health? I gathered park data consisting of 722 parks in or bordering Tennessee. This includes parks, gardens, and forests from national down to local levels. The data was gathered from ArcGIS. Here we can see the number of each type of park in Tennessee. We can also filter our map by these. If we want to see only national parks, we can see these here. Or you can look at only regional parks. This is also a great way to visualize the size difference between each type of park. There are a lot more of these local parks by number, but they are much smaller in size. The health data we used was collected from 2020 and 2021 from the CDC, and we focus on 8 different health measures for adults aged 18 and older. They are stroke, obesity, asthma, depression, high blood pressure, coronary heart disease, lack of health insurance, and type 2 diabetes. This data was collected at 429 locations across Tennessee. For our purposes, we are interested in the closest distance a location is to a park. For simplicity, these were grouped into 3 distance categories: close, medium, and far. We can explore these 429 locations by their proximity to parks. Notice that some locations were located inside parks with a distance of 0 kilometers, like these here. While the furthest park was 52 kilometers away. With this understanding of the data, we can look into more detail on the datasets themselves. By looking at the distribution of the locations' distances to their nearest park, we see that they are skewed right, otherwise known as positively skewed. For example, a lot more of the locations are closer than 5 kilometers to a park, then further than 20 kilometers away. To make sure this does not skew our calculations down the line, we will use quantiles to make 3 even groups: close, medium, and far. We can see the distance range for each of these groups here. We will use these groups to help us examine the health measures in relation to their proximity to parks. We can now look at how each of these health measures change with distance to the nearest park. This scatter plot shows the percent of the selected health measure in relation to the distance from a park. If we filter through these, we notice how each measure has a similar, positive, albeit small correlation between the distance and the health measure. I'd also like to point out that all of these have a relatively small R-squared value, which helps signify the significance in the relationship. Looking down at our bar graph, we also see that the percentage of these health measures are slightly lower in the close category than they are in the far category. These correlations are small, and there are many other factors that influence these health measures. While proximity to natural areas alone will not positively impact someone's health, it does provide easier access to free physical activity and fresh air. Overall, we saw that there is a slight correlation between health and proximity to natural areas. It is important to note that correlation does not mean causation. Many factors impact someone's health, and being close to a natural area does not imply that the park was used by the locals regularly. Even so, we did see a relationship here. More research should be done with more precise locations. It would also be interesting to see these health measures calculated with respect to park usage in addition to just proximity to the parks. The American Heart Association recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week, which is about 30 minutes per day for 5 days a week. But it states that 300 minutes, or 1 hour per day, will increase the benefits seen. This includes a lower risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and high blood pressure. And these are the same measures we saw in our analysis. Some examples of moderate intensity activities include, among many, brisk walking, dancing, gardening, tennis, and biking. And these are the sources and data sets I used for this analysis. Reach out with any questions you might have.